Suicidal Tendencies. They aren't around anymore. Mm-hmm. So what happened to the Tendencies?
Well, basically, when we started off a long time ago, we were doing basically what we liked. And a lot of people didn't understand it, and we knew that, but we were more concerned with finding an old audience rather than going and making music for a specific audience. And every record we did was for a reason, a purpose. We knew what we were doing and why we were doing it. And for us to keep going, it would be the first time that instead of making music, it would be a job. And we never wanted it to be a job. In the last couple of years, it got to the point where people were saying, hey, you think you can make a record that could get played on the radio and sell a lot of records and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, I think we could, but do we want to? No. We wanted to sell a lot of records. I mean, we put out our music because we think it's good, but if we wanted to sell a lot of records, just to sell a lot of records, 14 years ago, we would have turned on the radio and listened to what was on there and say, let's try to copy it. We would sound like Duran Duran. I like proving things, I'd rather start all over and, with both Cyco-Miko and Infectious. So we never had a chance to tour. And I like that feeling of going out there and playing with people and never seen it. They see it for the first time. And they don't know what to expect, And, I like that thing of building something up when you do something that a lot of people don't understand and you create your own audience and stuff. To me, that's more exciting. I think, one, with Cyco-Miko, I look at it the same way as did with Suicidal. I never thought Suicidal would last as long as it did. Go back to the first interviews, people said, what do you think you're going to be doing 10 years from now? And I said, I don't know, but I don't think I'll be doing this. And I think that's why we were around so long, is because we never intended it to be, something like that. And that's what we're doing. I mean, I definitely, if I don't do another Cyco-Miko record, I'll be very disappointed.
'Cause I'm talking, kind of crazy.
And I think both bands are great at what they do. And basically, we want to build up our own following. We don't want to, with the Cyco-Miko, I don't want to be a part of what, quote unquote, they call the punk rock thing now. That's not important to me. Just like as when Suicidal started, I wasn't concerned with being a part of that punk rock thing then. And I'm more concerned with, rather than being 11th, name on the back of a jacket, being the only one on the shirt, And so for us, I think it's the best way to have the most control, to have the most fun. But if there is comparisons, we're out to prove now we have an opportunity that there is no comparison. And what I mean by that is that we're far better. Regardless of who you are, you can take them to a Green Day show, and then you can let them listen to a Cyco-Miko record and see it, and I think they'll realize there's a little bit of difference.
Do you think so?
I think there will, yeah. Music that I grew up, my two favorite bands were the Sex Pistols and Parliament, and I don't think there's anyone that's ever approached Parliament, and I think there's a lot of similarities, me personally, with Sex Pistols and Parliament. There was a certain kind of live kind of a freedom. The music, it was just so like that, and even though stylistically they were so different, it was just, when you saw them, you knew it's like they believed in what they were doing, and basically I think that's something special. And with Cyco-Miko and Infectious kind of going those veins, Cyco-Miko's not trying to be a Sex Pistol tribute, just like Infectious isn't trying to be a Parliament tribute. What we want to do is take that stuff, bring it into the 90s.
Now I'm gonna show you how.
the reason why I used to go to shows. When we went to shows, you get that feeling where you're like, yeah, and so I'm very, I think very, what I'm doing is very in lines of what I would like, what I think is good. And I'm different than a lot of people, but in the same sense, I think that I'm very similar. And may have a different language, different accent, dress differently because of where I'm from. But I think when you get down to it, I met a lot of people from around the world. And once you get to know them, there's a lot of similarities. And
Damn your breath, damn your breath, damn your breath, stay.